What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, daylight savings time just happened today, so the weekly reset is technically a little bit later compared to yesterday. We'll be going over this entire weekly reset with This Week in Warframe. We're going to go over the entire weekly reset and tell you what you can expect as a Warframe player this week. Before we get into it, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. I'll be live on stream with the weekly reset after this video goes up, so come on, stop by if you want to check that out. There are a few things going on in Warframe this week, but yeah, Dante Unbound will probably not be this week. I'm expecting dev workshops on Dante Unbound this week, with it being released next week. Well, rather, 2 weeks from right now. So, going over our first weekly reset item, we got Tesen over here with 30,000 endo for 150 steel essence. If that's worth it to you, feel free to go for it. I don't really consider that super worth, as we can farm endo really fast in this game. Alright, so as far as the first This Week in Warframe news nugget for you, we have Gar Titania Prime being resurgenced this Thursday. For some reason, DE's website says it's on the 18th, but it's actually on the 14th, according to the in-game timer. So yeah, this upcoming Thursday, you can get Gar and Titania available for Aya, and those Ayas will be giving you things like the Volnus Prime, the Astilla Prime, and the Corinth Prime and Pangolin Prime as well, as far as the weapons for those frames. They're not exactly the most expensive frames, like plat-wise, but Titania Prime is a must-have character for speedrunning missions, so make sure you definitely get her at the very least. Additionally, since I was expecting there to be Dante Unbound this week, but basically DE said nothing last week about Dante Unbound, besides the fact that they're working on it still. So my prediction for this week is that we'll get the Steve and Rebecca little mini dev stream on Tuesday, and I'm assuming Rebecca will announce the next, the dev workshops will be coming out like the next day or the day of going over Inaros, rework quality of life, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, expect it on like the 20th, I'd say, for the new update, as they did not give us any information that previous week. All right, enough of that though. Let's get to the weekly wares we have here at Archides. We got a Forma blueprint for 10 pathos. We've got a Orokin reactor blueprint for 20 pathos, 5k Cuba for 10 pathos, and a Orokin catalyst blueprint for 20 pathos. So people have been asking me, how do you get these for free usually? Here's one of the ways you can get it. You can get a Orokin reactor and an Orokin catalyst blueprint for free this week if you want to spend a bunch of time doing pathos clamp farming. There's also an Exilus weapon adapter for 20 pathos as well. So yeah, an actually kind of decent week for this stuff for once. So yeah, beyond that, guys, there is going to be a new Corpus alert coming up this next week, and it's going to have a unique melee skin that I don't think is actually in the game yet. But don't worry, it's not going to be only during the weekend. Starting March 11th until, or actually it's March 15th until March 25th, there will be a special melee skin alert up for everybody. So no rush, it's going to be there for 10 days, unless you can't sign in the next 10 days. Or rather, the next 10 days start next weekend. So let's start with our Incarnons and our Circuit here. As far as what we have for Circuit, we got Loki, Mag, and Rhino. None of these characters are really that hard to farm. Most people will probably have Rhino by the time you're getting to the Circuit anyway. So really, guys, whatever helmet you don't have, or if you... this might not be a good week to do the normal Circuit, because boss frame here, boss frame here, boss frame here. They're all from boss fights. Some of the easiest frames in the game to farm. But if you were to really be like, I'm definitely running the Circuit this week, no matter what, you could probably go for Rhino. I guess you don't have him. But also remember that Loki is getting his new augment, the Stennis Decoy or whatever. So if you don't have Loki's helmet, maybe you can go for this one. But really, guys, they're all super easy to farm. So just pick whatever one you want. I'd say I'd go for Rhino if you don't have him somehow. All right, and for the Steel Path Circuit, stuff most people care about here, we have these Incarnon. Just a quick reminder before we go over this stuff, you have 20,000 Kuva or some Rivens you can choose. You have the rank 9 Opportunity Intrinsic, or it might be rank 8. One of those Opportunity Intrinsic allows you to pick that stuff instead of these Incarnons. But let's go over these Incarnons, as we actually have one or two really good ones this week. Alright, starting off the first Incarnon, we have the Akin and Brunt Incarnon. It's a sword it's an axe and shield, and the Incarnon form for this one lets you release spectral daggers during aerial attacks or slide attacks. These things are like mini Exodia Contagions. And when I say mini, I do mean mini. They do a lot less damage than the Exodia Contagion, but you can spam them out a lot faster. So that's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, this is not a weapon that's really used a whole lot. It's got some decent Incarnate upgrade. You can make it very crit viable. It can kill an Acolyte in one hit, but it's still just a melee weapon at the end of the day. The Spectral Axes are cool, but I mean, slide attacks, aerial attacks, a little bit annoying to do. Unlike the Hate Incarnon, which will be here next week, which does energy waves on like normal light attacks. This requires specific types of attacks. So if you want a good melee weapon, go for it. It's just not really my biggest recommendation, I'd say. Another one that is maybe not the biggest recommendation compared to some of the other stuff is the Soma Incarnon. The Incarnon form for this is going to make it become a slash shotgun, but the sad part is that slash shotgun reduces your crit chance, but also increases your status chance. So you're going for a weapon that is going to be basically very high crit in the primary mode and reduced crit in the Incarnon mode, but it can still do pretty good damage in that Incarnon mode. Now, when I say pretty good damage, I mean pretty good. I don't mean like amazing meta DPS damage. I've used this for level 10,000 before, and I regretted doing it. I'd say like I would much rather bring this Bursted Incarnon than the Soma Incarnon level 10,000 ever again. But if you have big nostalgia for this, feel free to use it. It does buff the base stats of the Soma Prime or Soma Normal. We get increased base crit multiplier, or some built-in condition overload, or some higher base damage. Reduced accuracy, quicker reload. There's tons of stuff on here. So if you want to try it out, feel free. It's not really heavily used by me, especially for level 10,000s. The Vasto Incarnon, another one I don't really use that heavily, but this one's actually good for level 10,000s, as it can easily one-burst level 10,000 elite enemies. So we're talking Thrax, Demolist, Acolytes. If you ever fight a level 10,000 Acolyte, that is, you will be able to one-burst them with a good build on this thing. And why is that? The Incarnon form makes it basically fan the hammer, and you release 6 bullets at the same time. You get 4 shots for it, and that burst of 6 bullets really, really does some damage. It's single target, unfortunately, but you can put out a punch from all if you want to. One of the biggest buffs on here is Death Trap Trigger. Increase your base damage by 66. On equip from primary, increase your crit chance and crit damage. That's really strong. That's how you can one-shot some stuff. You basically swap from your primary to your secondary and just blast them away with really, really good crits. The other stuff on here is just to give you even more crits or even more some hybrid stats. So if you want a single target secondary for taking out like Acolytes or whatever, try this out. But it really is single target, guys. So just be aware of that. You're not going to have like, this is not a... It's not a dual Toxicist with like Punch Through chaining everywhere. It's not a Atomos chaining everywhere. It's just single target. So if you put on Punch Through, you can hit multiple targets with these lined up as well. The Nami Solo Incarnon. I'm not going to immediately just like say this is not good, because if you remember, there is actually a new buff coming to slam attack damage in the Dante Unbound update. And this thing has some really good range. The Incarnon form gives it more range. And also, one of these perks, I think, is going to give you something involving slam damage, right? Increased weapon fall off by 60%. I believe that increased fall off stuff works on slam attacks. This might become like an AoE slam attack monster once the update comes out. But maybe I'm like overhyping it a little bit. The Archititron will definitely be super strong. This is one to keep on your radar as well as the Lone Blade options. It sounds like it makes the slam attacks have bigger radius or better damage fall off from the initial radius. So consider it for sure, but it's not really a must-have. It's just a really high stats slash weapon at the end of the day. And the best one, like this is easily the number one choice, not even like remotely close, the Bursted Incarnon. One of the go-to level 10,000 Steel Path weapons in the entire game. This thing is nuts. It makes a lot of other Incarnons look bad because of how OP and good this one is. So as far as what the Incarnon form does, once you go to Incarnon form, this thing goes from a burst mode to a full auto, like fire machine gun. It's got really good base stats. And a lot of Incarnon ammo too. I think it's like 600 shots you go into. You have a full ammo bar when you go into this. So becomes full auto, very good for melting down level 10,000 Thrax and whatever. So yeah, definitely try this one out. As far as the upgrades, the final one, Absolute Valor, gets us to like some really good crit chance. So you're gonna want to try this one out for sure, guys. So want to keep in mind though, the galvanized condition overload mod for guns does not work very well on this. Maybe DE will fix that someday, but yeah, don't use galvanized Savvy, I think it's called. The one that gives you condition overload for guns does not work very well in the Burstin, so keep that in mind when you're picking these. All right, as far as my number 2 recommendations, the easiest number 1 recommendation ever, Burstin Incarnon, because it's just so good. You will enjoy it once you pick it. And as far as the second one, it's really going to be up to you. I don't usually recommend people go for 2 primaries in a week, so you can maybe go for Burstin Vasto. That's some 2 level 10,000 viable weapons right there. But if you are maybe interested in that slam attack damage buff in Dante Unbound, maybe try out the Nami Solo. But yeah, really at the end of the day, pick the Burstin and whatever other second one you want. If you want to try the Soma, maybe you have nostalgia of the Soma, you could try this out. It will buff it for sure. It just won't be as meta as the Burstin. So number 1 Burstin, number 2 Vasto, or whatever other one you want to go for. Just make sure you get that Burstin though, guys. All right, moving on to some other stuff. Now, I want to let you know that in these videos going forward, we will probably stop covering call missions, as there will be a new, more important thing to cover as far as weeklies compared to call missions. DE is de-incentivizing call missions as they are removing this shard, and rather the shard from Chipper is no longer going to be available from Chipper. So we have a blue Archon shard at Chipper, and that should mean that the Owl Archon is also available to hunt. So let's see what we got. We got the blue Archon. Okay, so the blue Archon shards from the Owl. It's going to do things like armor, energy max, etc., etc. The mission types are mobile defense, interception, and the final boss showdown. Good luck getting that Archon Tau shard. So yeah, over here, this stuff, I will not be covering this stuff over here once the Dante Unbound update comes out, as that shard will be being moved to the Kavia. We will start covering the Kavia Deep Archimedean missions, as those will be random per week. Alright, for the call mission challenges, though, I'm on Sneaky Sabotage with Complete Without Dying, break 5 veils, find 3 hidden caches, collect 5 gene stamps, find Chipper's toolbox, and complete the mission without becoming spotted by a teacher. So a lot of scavenger hunt stuff, it looks like here. I'm just glad that these will be de-incentivized. So yeah, as far as where the shard that Chipper usually has will be, that will be on the Kavia, and they said it will be available for rep. So yeah, go farm some Bokas if you want to, maybe Echo Bokas or whatever, to get a ton of reps stacked up. For your Nightwave, we don't know when this Nightwave will end, and just a reminder that they give us about 2 weeks usually before the Nightwave ends. Like, they'll give us a warning, like, okay, we're going to end this Nightwave in 2 weeks. They have not said that yet, though. But it might be pretty soon. Maybe they'll tell us on the upcoming dev stream on the 22nd. All right, first challenge, Protector, complete 3 mobile defense missions. Next one, Zeramon Bounty Hunter, complete 4 different bounties on the Zeramon. Ceremonial Evolution is your first Elite Weekly. Activate the Incarnon form of any Incarnon in mission 5 times. I don't think I've ever seen that challenge before. Okay. So you fire some shots, you Incarnon your weapon, you deactivate it, you do that 4 more times. Good to know. That's not really what I call an Elite Weekly, but hey, if you don't have any Incarnons, you can't even do this. So the easiest Incarnon to get, I think, is the Latum Pistol at MR14. So you can maybe just go get the Latum Pistol as an MR14. If that's basically as low as you could be for this one. Or actually, I guess technically you could be on Steel Path and buy the Incarnon Market from Caballero. That could maybe work too. But yeah, not a very hard challenge as long as you have an Incarnon. The last Elite Weekly is going to be Elite Test Subject, complete 8 zones of Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Normal Sanctuary Onslaught will not work for that. And your other normal permanent weeklies are kill 30 Eximus, complete 15 missions, and kill 500 enemies. For your Nightwave Cred store, they changed my sorting again. We have the Evergreen stuff at the top. And as far as the other stuff, the helmets are going to be up to personal preference. Let me see if I notice any of these being good. The Grendel Glut helmet is good. Rest of that is, like I said, it's going to really be up to you. There's a Varuna helmet here. It's an Ash Arcane helmet. No, it's not. Okay, so we got, as far as Aura mods this week, we got Rejuvenation, Pistol Scavenger, Sprint Boost, Enemy Radar, Shotgun Scavenger, and Shield Disruption. We also have the returning Nightwave Augment mod for the Harp Pack, Exposing Harpoon. I've had people ask me, how do you get Sentient Surge, the Occucore Augment from last season? You will have to wait until the Occucore Augment is available in this store at some point in the future. They have not added it yet, but you're going to have to probably wait a while for that to come back if you want that Sentient Surge without buying from another player. As far as the Aura mods you should prioritize this week, get Enemy Radar, and then the rest of them you can get like Sprint Boost, I guess, but Enemy Radar is a really good one I'd highly recommend. Although we do have built-in Enemy Radar in our frames nowadays with no mods, this is going to stack on top of that. You see the enemies from really far away. For your Mastery Fodder stuff, we got just the normal Glaive this week, it looks like. And for Conclave Augment mods, we got Power of 3 for Ivara, Recharge Barrier for Volt, and Purifying Flame for Ember. None of them are really must-haves. I used to like the Power of 3 for Ivara, but it's not really worth the mod slot. And that is going to be your Nightwave and all that stuff. So as far as the next week in Warframe, guys, really keep an eye on DE's official channels for the whenever the Rebecca and Steve stream happens. They will likely tell us when those dev workshops will appear. I'm really expecting them this week at some point. So that would mean Dante on the week of the 20th, okay? Now, if they don't do that, that would mean that they're doing the Dante update after the March dev stream, and that'll be almost 3-4 dev streams for this Dante update. I am expecting it the week of the 20th, guys, right before the dev stream. So let's go over these Invigorations, though. Reminder, these are random per player. I just like to show them off because they're fun, and it can kind of just, maybe make some fun build videos later in the week. So we got some frames here, and if you want to unlock this stuff, you can buy it in the market, or you can unlock it by grinding it out on Deimos Necrolisk Syndicate. All right, we got Hero with increased melee crit chance and immunity to status effects. Okay, that could be pretty good, I guess, on Harrow, as he already has enough crit chance, but some status immunity could be nice for keeping all that energy in the energy pool. For Wukong, we got increased ability duration and increased reload speed. That's a good Wukong one right there. I wonder if the reload speed works on the Wukong illusion clone, like reloading a Tonkor or whatever. But the duration will definitely be nice for staying in your cloud form for a lot longer. That is a very nice Wukong Invigoration. And for Nova, okay, well, that's a crazy one, but I don't really know if I want power strength on Nova, because that's going to make the enemy slow. Okay, so this is honestly override viable right here. We got 200% ability power strength, and then also 75% ability efficiency. So if I wanted to override this, here's how you do it. You would click on one of these, you would switch it to the frame you're on, and you could build this up every 10 weeks. So I can put this stat on anyone I want. I could go put this on Saren, I could go put this on Garuda, I could put it on Titania right now if I wanted to. Whoever I want, I can charge that every 4 weeks. So I do all these invigorations. So I'll see you guys next time. Let me know who you think I should put this invigoration on for later in the week, maybe. Maybe I'll save it for Dante. Actually, no, Dante probably won't be this week, but I will probably try to use this on somebody later this week. So I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you on stream very soon. Take it easy, guys. Peace.